Forward thinking.
This is Six Figure Mindset. This is a show that showcases top black and brown talent in the corporate world.
Hi, I'm Sebastian Wilson, serial transformation and change consultant, working for my own company, Hankin Consulting, but having spent the best part of 22 years working in and around the city for investment banks.
Hi, Sebastian.
Hey, how you doing?
Great. Thanks very much for gracing us with your presence.
Oh, don't.
Don't be shy. Don't worry. We're gonna get really good.
Thanks for inviting me. It's all good.
Nice, excellent. So tell us, what do you do today? What's your role? What are you working on?
Right now, I'm very multifaceted, that's the way to put it. I am the director of two companies, in fact, three companies. One company which invests in startups, a second company which provides digital services to the NHS, a third company which is partnering to offer digital IT and transformation solutions to smaller and medium-sized SMEs. And we've just won our first contract, and we're very happy about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. In addition to that, I am very involved in residential property. And what else do I do? I mentor for the Prince's Trust. And I've also got a very creative element to my life as well, where I've got a love and passion for music, and I do other creative aspects as well. And most importantly, I'm a father to two amazing daughters.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That is like a mouthful. You do a lot of stuff. So you're a busy guy.
I'm a busy, but I enjoy variety. I am at my best when I'm doing maybe 2 or 3 projects, and I can focus on those. But I do believe, to get the best out of me, offer me variety, different locations, different people, different projects, and I fly. So yeah, I like
And that's
variety.
good.
Yeah.
So that means you know yourself, which is powerful.
I try to. At my age, I'm still working things out. But yes, yeah, I feel very comfortable in who I am.
Cool. So obviously you're very successful at what you do. So let's go back to the beginning. So where did it all begin? Because the way I can hear your accent, doesn't sound like you're from London. No,
there is definitely a world outside London.
Oh my gosh, really? Where?
in this country.
Where's that?
I'm very grateful and happy to be from Nottingham.
Wow.
Yes, I'm a Notts boy.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're the first person, but you're not. Okay, cool.
I'm not. Who else did you have from Nottingham?
There's a few people. We have. I've got family in Nottingham. I just said that for banter. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
Ignore me.
Okay.
Schooling. Who was you? What kind of person was you at school?
Damn. Going back to school.
Yeah.
So I went to a school called Beckett School, my secondary school.
Public or private?
Public. I haven't done any private education. I went to Beckett School. It was tough. It was really tough. If I remember rightly, casting myself back to 93-ish, there were only 3 black people in my year. And that didn't help. That didn't help my cause. I went to a Catholic school, so a lot of my friends from home are all generally Irish.
Oh, right.
Yeah, still friends with a lot of them today. But yes, I went to a Catholic school. Not many of us in the school, brothers and sisters, and it was tough. A lot of typecasting going on at that time. I used to run for English schools sports, so I was very fast, 100, 200, 4x1 and high jump, and I used to run for Notts AC, and I used to travel around the country. So the gift of that meant that lots of things that let me think of it. The gift of being an athlete at that time in that school means that I was totally applauded for my athleticism, but for my academia, I wasn't given anywhere near as much focus, and I definitely suffered from that. So
academically?
Massively, yeah.
So in terms of grades and confidence?
I left school with no grades.
What do you mean?
I left school with no GCSEs.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, I failed all of my GCSEs.
Wow.
So at one space, I'm lauded as, Sebastian's brought it home again for Beckett. On the other side, it was, yeah, you failed all GCSEs. So I left school with, when I say fail, I mean under C.
Yeah.
So I left school, went to college.
How did you get into college if you had no?
I retook. I just
Oh,
retook
you
my
just had to
GCSEs.
start.
I just
Okay,
started again. Retook my GCSEs in a year. Then I did a BTEC first in business finance at South Notts College. Then I realised I wanted to go to university. My sister's very bright. My sister older than me. I'm one of four, and my sister's very bright. So she was at Kingston and flying, and then I used to come down and see her to London, and she was gracious enough to take me around London and bring me to Soho and take me music shopping and Red Records in Brixton and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I want to go to university. I want to get out of London, get out of Nottingham. So I then really started to apply myself. I knew it was there. It was just focus.
So what would you say in terms of your identity then? You wasn't obviously academically esteemed.
No. Yeah.
But then why didn't you pursue your athletic career?
Oh, I'm laughing. Because I thought I was better at football than I was at athletics. So I thought I was going to be the next John Bars or Ian Wright, and I was nowhere near good enough. I was fast. And in fact, I even nearly played Gaelic football for the local Irish team, because they would just give me the ball and I would just fly down the ring and the line and no one could catch me. But darn man, Gaelic football's tough. So I wasn't as good at football as I thought I was. The gap that I left was too long to possibly go back to retrain, to catch up with what I'd missed out, and I'd left a lot of the teams. I'd left Not Say C. I wasn't running for English schools.
So you're about 16, 17?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I was running for the county from, let me think, 12 to 15, 16, and then I started to play football. I was no good.
Did you own that, or did someone tell you that?
I totally owned that. I remember, my coach Alan, my athletic coach, came to pick up, because when you win your medals, as just with F1, well, not different with F1, you have them for the year, and then obviously then somebody else wins it, and then they do the engraving. And he came, Alan from Harvey Haddon Stadium, came to pick them up and says, I really wish you'd have stuck at this, because you really have potential. And running, I was good at high jump, and I was brilliant on the last leg for 4x1 and 200 as well. I had really good legs, but I didn't have very good feet. I didn't have the touch for football. So I learned the hard way. Not athletics went that way, and football went that way, and I was still sat in the middle. So, yeah, good life lesson.
So then but how do you feel then? You don't get any GCSEs. What does that home look like? How did that conversation go? And obviously you've got a sibling that's excelled in
Three.
I've
got three older sisters
that have all excelled in academia.
Smashed it out of the park. So I'm the only boy in the family. So my father was very happy when I was born.
He was just happy that you were here.
No, he was very happy when I was born. My mum to this day says, "Oh Lord God, when you're born, your father." And so my father, I think he went on a bender for like 3 days when I was born, and I flopped. I flopped school. So my sister, going through the same school, came out with A grades. I came through this and I did it. So I'll let people read between the lines. I live in a very West Indian household. Which basically means outside the household I was in England, inside the household I was somewhere between Montego Bay and Falmouth in Jamaica.
Jeez.
And I was disciplined accordingly.
Right.
For the lack of my efforts. Yeah.
And then, so with your perception of self, you're a confident person when it comes to the athletics.
I wasn't then.
But then obviously you're now. Would you say you're in a low point, or you just keep it moving? Because obviously I know you said you went to do your you went to retake, but then was that like I need to make a plan to move forward, or did you just have to based on the discipline that you received, it made you apply yourself to sort it out?
I mean, I look at my family structure now, my folks, and I'm so lucky. I'm just so lucky that I fell off the wagon. I didn't take the opportunities that structured education gave me, and they stuck with. My father's very traditional Jamaican, gentlemen, you work or you're in education. And if you're not doing any of those two, you're paying. So there was a gap between me going after I resit my GCSEs and I went to work. So young 16, 17-year-old, Nottingham's great for factories. Absolutely brilliant. Boots is there, Imperial Tobacco was there, CCN was there, Raleigh was there. I've worked in all of those factories.
Wow.
I've put tobacco in Imperial Tobacco in the furnaces. I've packed all of the boot. I've worked in so many lines in Boots factories. D7, D10, D105. I've got a forklift truck driver's license, which I thought was going to take me around the world. It doesn't. It just takes you to pick up pallets. Yeah, working for agencies. My folks were like, "You're working, so if you want to go out and work," and I learnt the hard way really quickly. I said I wanted to get a car. My father says, "Yeah, if you want a car, you go and source your car." So I had 3 jobs at one stage. I was working at a pizza factory on Lenton Lane. It's still there, actually. And one of my friends is still working there. I used to put pepperoni on pizzas. And I did that before I went to university. In the morning, I'd do that in the afternoon. In the morning, I'd clean offices. And then in midday, I was at Boots. So I very quickly worked out, gosh, I'm working about 13, 14 hours a day. And I'm only earning this.
Yeah.
And my father was like, "Yeah, you've got to give." I think he was like 40%. He was like, "It comes in." You know, he's like, "Whatever you earn, it goes to the bills." And it was right, because it deterred me from wanting to work. And I realized I couldn't scale that. You can't scale 3 factories. You don't work, you don't get paid, right?
Yeah.
So I went back to train. I says, "Right, I'm going back to college." And the family were like, "Fine," totally supportive. And I went back to college and then wove me back into education very quickly.
And you fine resitting, you passed, then you did.
Yep, fine resitting. Yes. I mean, the best lessons are always the ones that you learn for yourselves. Somebody can tell you can be working here for the rest of your life, and you can see the people around you. I mean, I worked at Boots, and I was on a production line, and my good friend of mine, called me recently, for about a year ago. And he's a CEO now. And he worked in the other factory at Pork Farms, around the corner.
Right.
So we're both in factories, both stink, and it's horrible. We're in white coats, hair nets, and we're there. You know, and he said to me, "I need to humble myself. I'm doing really well in my career. I'm going to go home tonight and clean my toilet." That's what my friend said as a CEO. And I says, "You don't need to do that." And he says, "Why?" I says, "I want you to remember when we worked on the production lines, and we used to have to put our hands up to go to the toilet."
Wow.
Because we did. Because if you weren't there, somebody had to fill your station, to put the bottles in, to put the packaging in. That's what it was. You were paid by the hour. We used to do 5 till 9, and he was there, Pork Farms, packing pork pies. And he's a Muslim. You know, tough gig. Really tough gig. He wasn't touching the meat, but so I'm very lucky to have got people around me that really understand work. Really tough work like that. I mean, it's labor intensive. You're not using your brain as much as you can. I've got friends that are still doing it. Props to those guys. That was their path. It just wasn't mine. But you were asking how I felt at that time. I felt massively deflated. I felt independent because I was earning money so I could buy a car, which is great. So I could go out and rave with my friends. But once the noise, I realized I was living for a 2-day weekend. Very early on at 17, and I was lucky enough to be surrounded by people that were going to university in Nottingham, and I started to see the opportunities, and I started to see where they were going to, when they were leaving Nottingham, where they were going and what they were doing, and it was like, okay. So all of these lessons came through me and to me at the right time. I was young enough to resit. And I did, and then I got into Brunel, but I was cast as an older student because I went to university at 21.
Oh, so you was a mature student?
I was in the old block with the old guys, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I guess at that stage then, once you get into Brunel, you're kind of focused, you know why you're there, you're not messing around.
So, oh gosh, so
How
my
did you get that?
my sister was working at Reuters, and strange enough, I went to this pub the other day. She says, "Come down and meet me for drinks. I want you to meet some people." She knew I was looking for placement, and I went down to 3 Kings in West Kensington. I met all these managers, and I had no idea what they did. And I was just myself, and I just got on with them, and they just went, "Oh, we'll get you a job at Reuters," and they did, and that was my placement. So I went to Reuters, and I worked in Hammersmith at Reuters, and I worked in Reuters in Thomas More Square. It was brilliant, and that's where I learned to be a database administrator using Oracle. I had no idea what Oracle was at the time. I then started looking around and seeing the business element of Reuters and what they were doing with the trading software and how they were using the news, and it was like, oh, okay. And then I looked at the roles surrounded about the business analyst roles and business development, and so I could already see the trajectory of where I could possibly get to after graduation. But it just gave me a real feel of the working world. I was there at Reuters when lastminute.com went public.
Wow.
So what's that? So I was there for 99. Yeah, I'm old, man. I was there for 99. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, because I remember working with these older COBOL programmers that were making...
COBOL is so old.
Yeah, but they were making... They all got brought in because there was this massive fear that all the clocks would stop.
Oh yeah, that's
2000,
right. The millennium bug.
Yeah. And I think I had to work that night because I couldn't do any music. Yeah, I think I had to work that night. Yeah, so... Yeah, being around that environment and being so impressionable and wanting to succeed and seeing success, you know, and not being in that, not having exposure to that environment at all. So while I was heavily exposed to the industrial environment in Nottingham, I wasn't exposed to the professional environment in Nottingham.
Right.
So I didn't know, wow, okay, you drive to work and this is what you drive and this is where you go on holiday and this is what you eat, and okay, you go to lunch and this is what you earn that a day, and this in '98, you know, you're earning £1,500 a day. Yeah, great. Are you going back to work? Now someone else will do it for me, huh? You start to see and you start to think, oh wow, he's earning money on his lunch break and he's doing this and he's scaling and he's got these opportunities and these people are talking to him. Oh, that's the big boss. What does he do? Oh, okay. And then you start to meet these people and it's like brilliant exposure. So then I went back for my second sandwich placement to Reuters and I knew the guys there. And it just honed in working for a multi-global organization, the opportunities that are available. Wasn't really aware of colour. I just knuckled down and worked and just did as much as I could to ensure that I was ahead. And I tried to go back there for my first job, but what was that, 2001, things had changed for Reuters by then. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Forward thinking.